This is Bob Andelman, and you are listening to the Mr. Media radio interview with NPR podcaster and author Rob Sachs, whose new book is What Would Rob Do? Rob, I imagine you have some favorites from the podcast and the book that maybe we haven't already touched on?
Definitely. One of my favorite ones that this was, I did something in the book which was how to not have annoying kids music. And one of the things I'm in my other world, I'm a director for NPR, and so I listen to music all the time. I book musical acts for a show I work on called Tell Me More, and I really am into music. So I thought it would be great to figure out a way to get my daughter, she's 2 years old, into really good music. And so I called up Gavin Rossdale, who's married to Gwen Stefani, but he also is a musician in his own right. And also, he told me all about these great things, and I talked to Rick Springfield, who did a CD on lullabies, and he gave me great advice too. So that was a lot of fun talking to those guys.
You may not approve then. My daughter, the first song my daughter heard after she was born, and the first time I had her in the car alone was AC/DC Highway to Hell. Was that a mistake?
No, not at all. I mean, Rossdale himself, because he has some racy songs, and I said to him, "Well, do you ever censor your songs for your kids?" And he says, "No. I don't believe in censorship, and I find a way to explain it." And then when I talked to Rick Springfield, he was like, I said, "Well, would you ever maybe change around some lyrics of your songs, maybe like Jesse's Girl, and make it a lullaby version?" He's like, "Oh, well, that's a really interesting idea, but now that you said it, I think I'm definitely not going to do it." So he was done, I kind of got shot down by Rick Springfield, which was cool in itself. But I think that it's cool to expose kids to all types of music so that they have the experience of AC/DC and not just Rafi or Barney or whatever. But unfortunately, I'm finding that when I'm in the car, my daughter, she's only 2, she's like, "Where's my music? I want my music." She can always already distinguish between her music and Daddy's music, and I'm trying to blur that line a little bit. So I'm thinking one thing that's been working as a good crossover is Bob Marley. She's been into reggae because it seems like reggae has a nice kind of beat and melody. So how is your daughter reacting to AC/DC? Did that go over well?
Well, it's fine. She's almost 14 now, and she's very proud of the fact that was her first music, and that Dad always was trying to slip some stronger rock into her repertoire over the years. And now, let me ask you: is there anything in your past that would have predicted this? What would Rob do approach to life? I mean, were you voted, most likely to go to a nude beach in high school? Anything like that?
Definitely. Well, I was definitely the class clown in high school, and I think I realized early on I had an experience where I think I must have been in 7th or 8th grade, and I completely tripped down and fell down a whole flight of steps in front of my whole gym class, and I was completely embarrassed, and my face was flush, and I was waiting to get laughed at by everybody, but instead I thought something popped in my mind, and I just popped up, and I said, "Ta-da!" And everybody laughed and clapped. And it was like at that moment there was like a light bulb that went off. So, hey, if I took this approach to embarrassing things and own it and try to make light of it, then everything seems to be funnier, and I don't get so hung up about things. And I think, I've tried to take that approach with things. Just realize that embarrassing things like being called up on stage for a karaoke night are going to happen. And you can either be really, feel awkward about it and make everyone else feel awkward, or you can just kind of embrace it. And it's this embracing approach that I really enjoy doing, and hopefully I've been passed that on through the book. But that's not to say that everyone's going to be clapping at every point. But at least you'll go away with your head high is what I try to do at least.
Well, and I wondered if you deliberately look for topics that challenge your comfort zone for the podcast.
Definitely. I mean, I had one where I thought about recently how to handle. I didn't want to get too much into bodily function stuff, but I figured we have to talk about this a little bit. So, I talked about, well, what do you do, like, if you have, like, horrible flatulence or if you're a big snorer or something like that, and And I talked to doctors, and one person who invented this special underwear that's supposed to kind of has like a filtration system in it that's supposed to mitigate odors. And so I definitely met a lot of people who have put a lot of thought into all these things that happen that are completely embarrassing, and how to go away with your head held high. So the one problem with this underwear is that the woman says that it only filters out the smell and not the sound. So I'm still on my quest to figure out a better system for that problem.
Well, and there was another bodily function issue, and I mentioned it in the introduction. You deal with what to do if you clog your friend's toilet. That does happen to people.
Right. I was thinking about what would be the worst situation to be in, absolute worst, which is going to someone's party and clogging their toilet while you make a number two. And I was like, that has to be and that's actually happened to me. And I initially said, well, there's an easy solution, which is just to run out of the house and don't turn around. And that's unfortunately what I did when I was younger. I was like, I'm out of here. I can't deal with this. But, I try to say, well, there's better ways of handling it. So I give a little bit of, plumbing 101 in that chapter. But I also talk about ways where you can interact with maybe your host and try to get them to help you out a little bit. And hopefully, not be so embarrassed, but try at least to admit to your wrongdoing, but be okay with it. So I say leave a note by the puncher.